Hello guys, and finally Russia's war of attrition plays against it. Putin needs the general conscription, and that's exactly what he fears the most. And do you know why? Because back in 2022, when his blitzkrieg failed, he tried this general conscription and 1 million Russians left the country. And these were no ordinary Russians, but the real brain drain. People working in IT, having successful businesses, decided to escape Russia. And this was taken very negatively by the Russian population, by the media, and Putin stopped that conscription, hoping he can cover the needs of the Russian army with contract war criminals. But back in 2022, Russia had way more money. Now their federal budget is not just empty, it is negative. They have trillions of rubles in debt and they have no money to pay that war criminals according to the contracts. More and more regions not just half, but minimize these payments, and the number of people who want to join the Russian army drops tremendously. Of course, they also read the news, at least until the Kremlin blocked Telegram. So right now, analyzing the laws that were introduced in Russia back in the end of 2025, observing how they try to recruit soldiers in universities on the streets, it becomes obvious that Putin needs this general conscription that is very likely will result in serious protests and threats for his regime. In January alone, Ukraine managed to neutralize 9,000 more Russian soldiers than the Kremlin managed to conscript. And trust me, the news, Russian financial losses and military losses act extremely demotivating on those potential volunteers for the Russian army. This is something that no one could have expected when Putin promised a blitzkrieg, and now this war lasts longer than the Second World War for the Soviet Union. And who said that the war of attrition can destroy Ukraine but cannot destroy Russia? It seems like this evil federation will collapse even faster than we expect. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see Putin in The Hague, subscribe and share these videos to spread the truth. It was pretty obvious in the middle of 2025 that with such big losses on the front lines, more than 1 million soldiers, Putin will need the general conscription. A lot of his generals were asking for this, understanding they need more people, not only on the front lines in Ukraine, but also on the front lines in Russia. But Putin did not want to announce this general mobilization, understanding that the apolitical population of Russia will not like the idea. You know that in dictatorships, various authoritarian countries, it's quite common that the population, and I avoid naming them citizens, give up their rights and freedoms for the sake of the illusion of stability. Like, we don't touch you and you don't touch us. That's exactly how Russians lived for a very long period of time, but now, when the economic reserves are empty and the human reserves are empty, Putin is prepared not just to steal Russian money from Russian pockets, but also Russian people from Russian streets. Please understand, there is a huge difference between the Ukrainian defenders and the Russian offenders, because here we stand for our cities, our homes, our families, and it always feels very, very differently. In Russia, one and only reason why they joined the army, why they crossed the border of Ukraine, was the desire of the soldiers to get more money, sneakers, whatnot. It was just about money. And now, when the Kremlin has trillions of rubles in debt in their federal budget, when Lukoil, Gazprom, Rosneft, Russian railroads are destroyed, when they have no money to pay salaries to teachers and, doctors, they are thinking where to get cheap soldiers. Unfortunately, they managed to, lie to a lot of foreign volunteers from countries that know very little about Russia, had some positive memories, fake memories about the USSR, and came to Russia from some Asian countries, from some African countries, and it's always very painful to watch the videos how Russians treat them, how they deceive them, how they don't even train them before sending to the front line. So if I have some people who watch me from a faraway corner of this planet and consider visiting Russia, testing some job offers, I don't know, maybe on military plans or something. No, save your life, stay home, or travel to another country where they respect foreigners, but not Russia. They had a lot of soldiers from Nepal, from North Korea, from Kenya, and all of them disappear very quickly, and you can guess how. So finally, they are on the brink of this decision to conscript more people officially in this forced general conscription. Putin made a law like that in the end of 2025 because the main reason, no money in the federal budget and very serious losses. I was not surprised to read that the number of soldiers they lose every month in Ukraine is more than 35,000 people. So they cannot mobilize the same amount. In January, this negative figure was 9,000. And you know that our minister sets new priorities. And it's crazy how Putin does not care about his people. This tells you a lot about the future of this country, whether we can trust any negotiators from the Russian side. If they don't care about lives of their own young men, why do you expect they will follow any promises and care for the life of, let's say, the Europeans? So Russia lost 17 times more soldiers, like 17 times more than in Afghanistan. And that was a very bad war that led, surprise, to the collapse of the USSR, together with low oil prices and economic mismanagement. Exactly what we observe right now, but 17 times more, 11 times more than in Chechen wars. That is insane, and any adequate president would definitely stop it long ago. And that's exactly what I was saying when I was super honored to join a panel on Piers Morgan Uncensored show together with President Zelensky. Yes. And Piers asked me, do I trust Zelensky? And yes, I do, because he asked a similar question about Putin. But my main question was, why do so many political leaders still think that Putin is fit for the job after a quarter of a century of his reign, and when he demonstrates total not understanding of the economic military situation even inside Russia? Watch that video, give me some support. I was the only brave girl on that show. It's always very emotional because I don't want to screw. Leave me your comments of support on that channel, and here too let me know what do you think about that in general. And today Donald Trump decided to continue sanctions on Russia, and I hope that sometime soon we will even get a permission for the long-range strikes deep inside the Russian Federation to demilitarize this country and make the world a safer place, prevent them from creating more missiles and more terror and violence. Thank you so much for your support, for your kind advice and understanding. Follow me also on Anna Danilchuk channel, where we have a really good video about protests in the Russian regions that are also record-breaking this year, and believe me, more and more to come if Putin will announce the general conscription. And follow me on X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Discord, X, and Substack. You will find these links in the description of the video, same as the link to our merch shop with lots of good items that help you start conversations about Ukraine, remind about our fight and the need to defeat Russia. This means a lot. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channels, but most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!